Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to allow for a few seconds while everyone comes in. Good afternoon to you, Mike. Nice to see you
Good
again.
afternoon. Same here.
I am going to, I think I'll wait a couple of seconds, Mike, since people are still trying to come in.
Okay.
Did you have a good 4th?
I did. Did you see fireworks? I live in the marina, so we saw them here. Where did you see them?
I saw them essentially in the marina too, but in Long Beach.
Okay, I'm in Marina Del Rey. You saw them in Long Beach. Got it.
Oh, yeah. That marina.
Right. Let's see. We only have a few people. That's okay. That's good.
They'll probably file in a little bit later too. I'll go ahead and get started though. Let me share my screen. And Mike, let's see, just want to be sure. Nope, that's not the right screen. Sorry, guys, 1 second. Here we go. I must have too many programs running. It's taking a little bit for my.
It's okay. It's all right. No problem.
It's taking its sweet time, but it'll be open shortly.
Well, why don't we just briefly do the intro? You don't need the slides.
Oh, here we go. I'm ready.
Go for it.
Well, I should start off by saying, Mike, that we're pleased to offer this event through the Community Navigator Pilot Program and the U.S. Pan-Asian American Chamber of Commerce. With that, let me go ahead and share my screen. Mike, you'll let me know if you can see it okay?
It just came up. We're good.
Beautiful. Here we go. And here's more information related to that Community Navigator program. If you have any questions, please put those into the Q&A and I can answer them for you. In the chat, I'll share the link to the landing page so that you can learn more about this program.
Okay.
All right, so again, good afternoon. My name is Lauren Simpson, and I'm joined today by my colleague, Mike DiDonato. We are part of the SBDC, or the Small Business Development Center. We're a national program with over 1,000 locations across the country, and we offer no-cost services to local small businesses. And they're at no cost to you because your tax dollars have already taken care of all of our fees. For the Los Angeles network, which is the network that I represent, we have locations in the Los Angeles, Santa Barbara, and Ventura counties. And you can see those represented on the map in front of you. You'll see that we have locations in Santa Clarita, over to Pasadena, down to Long Beach, and a few areas in between. So if you're in the Los Angeles, Santa Barbara, or Ventura counties, you can get in contact with one of our centers for help. Again, we offer no-cost business advising, and so you're able to sit down one-on-one with a business expert in various fields, from finance to taxes to business planning, as well as marketing. You name it, we've got it. And then we also offer virtual trainings, much like the training you have joined today, free virtual trainings. Again, get in contact with us, please. We're here to help you. You can call us at 866-588-7232 or online, smallbizla.org/new client. For those of you outside of the area, you can go to americassbdc.org/find your SBDC. With that, I'm going to go ahead and stop my screen share. Quick housekeeping, any questions, please put those into the Q&A. Again, questions into the Q&A. And then the chat will put in information related to the topics that Mike is covering, as well as contact information for those of you who would like to set up a meeting. All right, Mike, it's all yours.
Thank you. And so we don't have that many today, so I'm going to say, hello, Angela, Augustus, Charles, Donald, Flynn, Gloria, Jenny, Joseph, Lily, Marcella, Melissa, Oyukunle, Pete, Tashil, and Wilma. Thank you for joining us today. GB Bajaj, you might expect to be here today, unfortunately has come down with a very high fever. So he needs to take care of himself. Hopefully he'll be back next week. I suspect he will be. He's young and healthy. And so I'm going to go ahead and do a presentation that I have on how to price products and services. So with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And for the person who called in, I don't know your name, but hello to you too. Let me share my screen. And do you see it, Lauren? Yes, okay. By the way, Lauren has the option to unmute you if you want to ask a question directly. We have so few people rather than go in the Q&A, so you can do that as well as we go through this. This usually takes an hour, and I'll try to get through it. So this is a pricing workshop. And first we want to start with value creation. There's a gentleman named Lee Caldwell. Lee Caldwell authored a book called The Psychology of Price. He is a behavioral economist and a pricing expert. And in his book, he identified certain factors associated with price. So let's go through these. Number one, pricing should be based on the value to the customer, not the cost to you. So Lauren, I get this a lot. I'm sure many advisors get this too. My cost is $15. Therefore, I'm going to sell it for $30. That is the wrong way to think about pricing. It doesn't matter how much you bought it for. The question is, what is the value in the marketplace? So when I don't know, Lauren, if you have a Gucci bag or not, did you ever ask how much it costs to make whatever dress or product that you bought? No. It's about the value to you for that product or for that service. Do you ask the plumber how much it costs he paid the journeyman to do his work? No. It's about the price. It's about the value he's bringing to you to have the work done. Okay. So lose this mindset about my cost is X and now I'm going to double it. Or who knows what the Gucci bag costs to make it? That costs $100, but they're charging $1,000 or $2,000. By the way, it costs more than that. Okay. So let's lose that mindset of buying tight cost to price. Okay. It should be tangible. Your customers have to see what they're getting for, what they're paying for. It should be comparable to your competitors, comparable to other products on the marketplace. Now, if you want to change your prices, you have to reframe your product or service, unless it's a situation with gas prices, because gas prices are a function of supply and demand. And there isn't enough supply and demand is going to do it. Okay. Price differentiation is the key to enabling profit. So you need to look at what your competitor is doing and develop product differentiators. I'll give you an example. I have a dongle that attaches to my laptop. My laptop only has a C connector for USB ports. My dongle has 4 A USB connectors. So I can connect 4 devices to my dongle and then go to my laptop. So I can charge my phone, put my headset in, charge my earbuds. I couldn't find another dongle with so many options. So that's a product differentiator. Okay, a service differentiator, going back to the plumber, for example, if someone was available at 3 o'clock in the morning, he's going to be there when you call him, when you have an emergency. You'll have to pay significantly for the service, but that's a service differentiator. And so the way you communicate your pricing shapes the customer's perception of value. If Gucci wasn't communicating properly, then you would not feel that the products that they're selling are worth it. You have to be prepared to lose some sales and not increase your profits. There might be products that you're carrying or services that you're offering which aren't generating significant profits for you. Maybe they be losses. Now, there's times to do loss leaders when we talk about that. And of course, we just talked about supply and demand. You always have to look at supply and demand and the elasticity of or inelasticity of the product. Gas is inelastic in the short run. In the long term, there's alternatives. And I think have an example of that in the next page. By the way, how much did you pay for gas last time you gassed up, Lauren?
Mike, I'm like crying at the pump now. I just got gas maybe about an hour ago. It wasn't too bad. It was $6.13.
That's not bad. You can see it on this screen. This picture was taken, maybe only a year ago. Okay. Wouldn't it be nice to be back at these prices?
Heck
so
yeah.
You always have to look at supply and demand. So if you have a service that's in high demand and there's very low supply, there's a chip shortage now for cars. Well, then you can charge higher prices. So you should always be aware of the supply demand issues and elasticity or inelasticity of the products or services that you're offering. So When it comes to price considerations, higher prices are usually affiliated with luxury, and lower prices tend to have higher volume. That makes sense, and lower margins. So higher prices are associated with better quality. That's in the consumer's mind, okay? So what value does your product or service bring to the market to fill a need or solve a problem? You need to be able to identify your unique selling proposition, your unique value proposition. If you can't do that, then you're gonna have trouble pricing out your goods and services appropriately. So a unique selling proposition or a unique value proposition is what makes your store, your service, your product different than anyone else providing that product or service, all right? And it could be any number of differentiators. Here you see on the screen some logos. I think we can all agree that Gap is kind of like a middle of the range store. You know what you're gonna get when you go in there. And Louis Vuitton is a high-end product, it's a luxury product. And Chanel, I don't know, we didn't put that, Lauren, probably in the middle of the road category, correct?
Chanel's pretty high end.
Chanel's high-end? Okay, I don't
Yeah.
buy Chanel, so I don't know.
Chanel,
Okay.
I would say more so than Louis Vuitton.
Yeah, okay, so there's a reason for that. They built a brand presence, they have high quality products, right? And no one ever asked how much it costs to make the Chanel product, unless it's their accountants. So once again, it's always about the benefit to the customer. When it comes to B2C, business to consumer, you create value by enhancing the quality of life for a final consumer. When it comes to B2B products or services, it's by increasing the profitability of a company. When it's B2G, business to government, that's a whole different ballgame. It's providing a solution to a problem the government is trying to solve, okay? So creating and innovating value to customers requires hard work and long-term investments. Now, the heart and soul of strategic success is cost innovation, consistently working on lowering your costs. Doesn't mean go cheaply, keeping the same quality, and or providing superior customer value, where you have a high price and you're continuously improving on the quality of your products. And the reason Chanel and Vuitton and those higher end fashion brands are able to command those prices is because they focus on these items, plus their brand imagery. So there's something called continuous value creation, which impacts on the customer experience. You have to understand what your customers value, which means you should be doing surveys. You should be talking to your customers and clients. What is it that they want? It's not what you want, it's what they want. What do they value, okay? Sometimes it gets confused in people's minds. You need to simplify and streamline it so make it easy. I'll give you an example. Try to go buy a product on an online store, and can you find the button always, Lauren, to access where to buy that product, put in a cart? It's hard, right, at times. Yeah, okay, make it simple. You link your customer value to your operational drivers. So if your customer values responsiveness, then you want to have operational driver which says your return calls will be done within a certain period of time, like the plumber, because he's linking responsiveness to how quickly he's going to return your call, or text, or email. There's something called customer journeys, which I'll show in a minute. And you always need to adopt continuous improvement thinking. This all makes sense to you, Lauren?
Yeah, it does. I'm following.
Okay. So understanding the customer thought process, this is critical. What you have here is an example of a buyer persona, customer persona. This is what marketing agencies do nowadays. And you can pay a lot of money to go up to a marketing agency to develop a buyer persona so that you can understand that buyer and thus determine how best to service that client. These are hypothetical characters that represent ideal clients. Oftentimes, when I ask a customer or client, who their ideal customer is, I get the standard response, anyone between 25 and 40, any female between 15 and 30. Those are inappropriate, incorrect answers. And if it's B2B, I get any business in the local area, incorrect responses. You want to focus on the decision maker within those businesses, and you create these hypothetical, fictional characters that represent your perfect client. And I could ask you 100 questions, and that's what the marketing agencies do to create these personas. Fortune 100 companies have 50 to 100 of these personas. And then there's customer journey maps. So you want to determine a hypothetical name. In this case, it's a law enforcement officer named Jake Adams. You want to have a photo attached to this fictional character. You're writing a novel, okay? There's personality types. He's a guardian. Some people are rational, some people are artistic. He has goals. He wants to feel safe, work out, eat healthier. He represents 68% of the clients for this particular company. And this company sells body armor, so that makes sense, okay? He has a strong sense of right and wrong. He takes his health seriously, and so on and so forth. There's motivations and frustrations. You need to understand what your ideal client frustrations are and goals are, because that's how you're going to market to them. Here's the other reason you do these. People consume information differently. I'm not on TikTok. So I don't consume information by watching TikTok. It doesn't happen for me. You'll never reach me that way. And if I'm your ideal client, you'll never reach me. Everyone has different ways of consuming information. Everyone has different frustrations and pain points. You can't just group people together and say, that's my target market. You're going to waste money, you're going to waste time, you're going to waste energy, and you won't achieve your goals. You spend your time developing even much more specific buyer personas than you see here. And you should at least have 2 or 3 for your business. In this case, he's 30 years old, he's married, he's in LA, he's in law enforcement, he expects delivery on the brand promise, etc. I could go on and on and on developing this fictional character. And I could do it for any one of you. And there's lots of tools out there, and it's important to do so. Now, there's something called a customer journey map. So you tie that to the buyer persona, because everyone's journey is different. Your journey with Lauren and me through the process of coming into the SBDC is different for everybody. Some people might call in Lauren, right? Some people, how many different ways can people contact us, Lauren?
Oh my goodness. I would say so, email, phone, sometimes we get text messages, and then referrals.
Right, exactly. So there's different ways that people can connect with us. So there's a different journey depending on which step you take, okay? So let us take the example, Lauren decides to go and buy some shoes. Well, how does she become aware of what shoes are available to her, where she can buy those? That's the awareness stage. And there's emotional states tied to that awareness stage. In each one of these stages, there's frustrations, there's pain points, don't have the colors, they're not locally available. Then she narrows down in the consideration stage which shoes she might consider: price, quality, reputation, reviews, how close is it? Can I get it online? And then there's the actual engagement of the purchase. We all go through these journeys when we're working through a process to buy something, including a service. And then there's a post engagement and retention stage. And then there's an advocate stage. You, as business owners, need to develop customer journey maps, and we can help you, tied to buyer personas, which then leads back to how you price. Because if you don't understand your customers, if you don't understand operational drivers and value drivers, if you don't understand customer journey maps, you're not going to price properly. And there's a lot more detail to stages aside from what you just see here, because there might be opportunities to improve on that experience in those stages. So what you see in front of you now is something called the brand equity pyramid. At its most basic level, you have the visuals, which is the logo. Actually, the brand features is the lowest level here. Then you climb the ladder. So in order to create strong brands, companies must shape how their customers think and feel about their product or service during all interaction with the brand, pre-purchase, purchase, post-purchase, similar to the customer journey map we just saw. And as you climb up the brand pyramid, you can charge more for your product. Chanel, as Lauren has pointed out to us, has climbed up to the brand pyramid. So there's Gucci. Was it Gucci? Sorry, Gucci. You have to create the right type of experiences with a brand so customers have specific positive thoughts, feelings, beliefs, opinions, and perceptions. And if they have those right thoughts, the more you can charge for your product. So yes, there's the brand features and attributes, and then you have the brand visuals, but then it goes beyond that to brand and stream and developing a relationship and connecting with customers. We spend a lot of time, Lauren, would you agree, connecting with our clients because of what we do?
Very much so, yes.
Right? And so we build those relationships. If you're in a service-related business, you absolutely have to build those relationships. So there's various different types of pricing strategies. You would not use all these pricing strategies. First, you have to understand your customer. Create the customer journey maps. We understand we are on the brand equity pyramid. Then you can figure out what appropriate pricing strategy would be good for you at this point in time and in the future. And not all of these are right for everybody. It depends on where you are. And I'll go through these. By the way, there are some comments in the chat room. Any questions? No, no questions yet.
Just saying hello.
Okay. So this is the basic concept. And what I'm saying is don't just rely on this. Here's the cost to make this leather skirt, $125. The e-commerce seller selling directly is marking it up 150%. So she's charging $187.45. So her price to the marketplace is $312.45. And that's one way to price, but not the best way to price. Because I said, it's not about how much it costs you or the woman who made the skirt. What counts is what the market will bear and how much value you're bringing to the customer. So no customer ever came to you and said, well, how much did it cost you to make that skirt? The government asked that question. The government wants to know the answer to that question. As a matter of fact, the government requires you to answer that question, which is why when you get into government contracting, it's a total different ballgame, but not with consumers. Let me continue on. Now, those of you know that sell through retail stores or through Amazon understand that there are retailers that you have to go through. And Amazon is basically another reseller, and you're the wholesaler. So you're selling through a retailer, and there might be more than one middleman. It might be going to a distributor who then goes to a retailer who then goes to a consumer. And everyone along the way has to take their piece. All right. So the wholesaler, the manufacturer, the seller is not going to make as much profit if they, by going that route. They might sell more, but they're not going to make as much profit. Well, one way to offset that is to charge more. For example, if you're going through Amazon, through the Amazon pricing or eBay or Etsy, as opposed to how much you sell at your own site. Of course, Amazon, Etsy, et cetera, don't like it when you do that. They don't want you to be in competition for yourself. Okay, but that's how this works. But again, the question is, what is the true value in the marketplace? So there's something called keystone pricing, which is what we just talked about. Okay, I just showed you an example of that. But there's also something called psychological pricing. So psychological pricing is when, how many times do you see this, Lauren? You go in, it happens all day long. Price is $29.95, $29.95, $29.97. Happens everywhere. Happens at the gas pump, everywhere. It's psychological, with the thought that you're actually spending less than you really are spending. Happens all the time. We all fall prey to it. We all human beings. I mean, I fall prey to it. We all do. That's called psychological pricing. And you should be doing the same thing. There's a reason this type of pricing works. Now, I need to explain to you volume pricing. So when it comes to volume pricing, there's volume pricing and tiered pricing. Let's just deal with volume pricing. Here we have somebody who's added 60 widgets. For 60 widgets, if you order 60 widgets, the price per widget is $5. Thus, the total price charged is $300. That's 60 times 5. So the average price that the seller would get is $5. Pretty simple, right? Everyone gets this. But there's something called tiered pricing. For example, in this case, for the first 10 widgets, I'm going to charge you $20. For the second 10 widgets, I'm going to charge you $10. Anything above and beyond that, I'm going to charge you $5 per widget. That's called tiered pricing. So the calculation goes like this. 10 times 20 is 200, 20 times 10 is 300, and 30 times 5 is 150. Thus, the total price that the seller will get is the sum of those numbers, which is 550 for the same quantity being sold. The average price, therefore, is $9.17 versus the average price of $5 if the seller just engaged in volume pricing. I see a Q&A item, Aaron.
Yes. So actually, that was just a thank you, but we did have a question in the chat.
Go
It
ahead.
says, what is the way to price restaurant and bar items?
Well, there's lots of different ways to do that. And very specifically, you should be talking to an advisor. But look at your competition. What differentiates you from everyone else in the same industry? Is it a high-end restaurant? Is it a low-end restaurant? Is it a high-end bar? Is it a low-end bar? Is it a middle-of-the-road bar? What type of food products are you selling? What type of drinks are you selling? I mean, it's hard to answer that without knowing details. Okay, what's your operational cost? You still need to know the operational costs. What's your location? Are you in Beverly Hills? Or are you in Torrance? You know, who's your target customer? There's too many details that we need answers to in order to answer that question. I would say in general, you have to cover your food costs, you have to cover your service costs, but above and beyond that, okay, you need to engage in developing buyer personas, customer journey maps, looking at your competition, determining what the market will bear. Are you in a hotel, in a high-end hotel? There's just too many factors. As GB would say, it depends. Now, there's something called price skimming. This happens when there's inelastic demand. So it works well for innovative and high-tech products. So when the latest PCs come out at one time, there was high demand for those high-tech goods. So the computer companies could charge a lot of money for them. Right now, in the new car market, in the used car market for that matter, there's high demand for these vehicles. There's a chip shortage. This says Corvettes are selling for 10 to 30 above sticker. Actually, it's selling for more than that now. There aren't a lot of Corvettes around, and they're in high demand. That's called price skimming. You can engage in price skimming too. No reason not to, if it's appropriate for what you're selling as a product or a service, okay? So the pros of price skimming: you can increase your profit, which enables more research. Tesla, first time they came out with a vehicle, I think it was over $100,000. Well, it's paying for the research to develop the Tesla, okay? Consumers who wait can sometimes benefit when the prices drop. That happens when new products come out. But the high price can help recoup the investment costs. Now, here's the cons. The people who paid the high price may feel ripped off when the prices drop. And therefore, the firm could lose market share if the price is too high, and it requires a degree of monopoly power. I think we can all agree that Tesla has monopoly in the electric car market. That's a perfect example. All right. So here we have the price quality metrics. High prices should equate to high quality. What you see on the screen here on the top right quadrant is the best gaming PC on the marketplace. I did research into all of this. It costs $30,000. It's called an Orion 8-pack gaming PC. If you're into gaming and you have the wealth, this is the one you want. High quality, premium product, selling for a high price. At the low end, high quality still, relatively high quality. There's an Acer-inspired TC895 UR11 desktop that sells for $650. I have a Dell. I think I paid something like $2,500 for it, my desktop. The Acer is as good as the Dell. And then I think we could all agree that the Mac is somewhere between these two. So you have a medium quality product in Mac with a medium quality price. I'm sorry, well, a high price, medium quality. In the middle, you have medium quality products at a low price, an all-in-one PC, $800. Then you have a medium product at a medium price, and then you have something that's overpriced. It's just tricked out PC with not any real functions that make it stand out, going for $5,000. And then we all know what a Chromebook goes for. At this point, I think it was $300. You know what you're getting. Okay, that's okay. You can price lower. It's a lower quality. You can pay a little bit higher for a so-so desktop computer. And then you can pay a lot of money for a low quality PC that's all tricked out. And you're just buying it because it looks nice, but it really has no advantage over a Mac or an Acer. Okay, you want to equate the quality of the product or the service that you're offering to the price levels. And everyone should be doing this with their competition and find out where you are. Now, there's something called relative and discount pricing. So what you see on the screen is 3 sneakers. One's going for 98, one's going for 90, and someone's charging 95. Okay, that's where you're just saying, okay, I'll kind of be in the middle. Well, that's fine, because you're just falling within, but if you're too far, if you're too high, people may not buy it. And if you're too low, people say, no, it's not a high quality product. I'm not going to buy it. I think you're all well aware of another pricing strategy called discounting. Flash shares and inventory clearances, all that type of stuff. You should engage in that when it's necessary, when you have inventory that's been hanging around. But you should also have loyalty cards, so long as it makes economic sense for your business and practical sense for your business. Now, there's something called price anchoring. This is where you see a price here, and it's crossed off. And then you see another price next to it. And this is essentially the same book being offered, okay? So, and 2 people are offering the same book at the same price, and one's offering it at a lower price. Well, what's happening here? A lot of psychological maneuvering going on here, because notice all the 9s, Lauren? Yeah, right? And then the top prices cross off, another psychological maneuver with a low price. There's no way you and I could ever know whether or not those prices listed there that are crossed off are real. Okay? This is all psychological manipulation. By the way, you can engage in this too, because that's the American way. And there's nothing wrong with it. Nothing illegal about it. It's totally appropriate. Okay? Now, there are some aggressive pricing strategies, or alternative pricing strategies, something called penetration pricing. Spectrum is doing this right now. Spectrum wants to win over everybody to their mobile cell service. So how are they doing that? They're saying, I'll give you 1 month free, or 2 months free, or 3 months free, because they know everyone's locked up with Verizon and all the other providers. What's going to happen after Spectrum says, you know what, we've taken enough market share from those folks? What's going to happen, Lauren?
We're all going to be broke.
No, yes, but why are we going to be broke? What's going to happen? What's Spectrum going to do?
Once they take on all the clients?
Once they take market share, what are they going to do?
Raise those prices.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Right. They can't do it forever, right? Right. It's called penetration pricing. You can engage in this too. If you're trying to break into a new geographic area, open a restaurant, and you want to take market share from your competitors, and there's a lot of them, then you can offer discount menus, right? If you're in a service industry and opening a new law office somewhere, and there's a bunch of people that are locked in with the courts and the business, et cetera, you can go in and try to knock them off their pedestals by offering lower prices. It's called penetration pricing. Now, I love this one. This is great. It's called add-on pricing. So you go to book a room in San Francisco or San Diego, and there's a lot of psychological stuff going on here. We have 3 left at $128. How do you know they have 3 left? There's no way for you to confirm that. And how do you know it goes for $128? There's no way for you to confirm that. They cross off the price. Oh, we saw that before in another slide. Okay. And they put $89. Well, the 89 is also psychological pricing. Okay. Then you get the bill. This has happened to me many times. Now I'm paying a room service delivery fee, a minibar restocking fee, an internet use fee, a resort fee, a parking fee, and on and on and on and on. Okay. That's called add-on pricing. Totally legitimate. It's a good way of going for any business that has a product or service where it lends itself to that, like hotel rooms. Okay. And so I'm giving you this information so you understand how marketers manipulate us, but also how you can take advantage of those marketing strategies for your own use. So if you are interested in add-on pricing, feel free to do it. It makes sense for certain industries. Now, there's something called loss leaders. I'll give you an example of how this works. Let's say somebody's an electrician, and they're quoted, and somebody needs to have, their house rewired. So and they get multiple quotes. So the electrician comes in and gives them a low quote deliberately, with the thought that, oh, by the way, you need some other things done with your house electrically. We need to put in some outdoor lighting. We need to add in some cans in the ceiling, and we should upgrade your electrical service. So they deliberately put in a lower bid with the hope that they're going to get additional work, and they might even just break even on the initial offer. That's called a loss leader. If you feel that's appropriate for your business, then you should consider it. Again, you're not going to do all these pricing strategies. Okay, you're going to pick 1 or 2 that fits your business in the current state that it's in. And remember, we're hitting recession, so pricing strategies change with recessions. There's also something called price bundling. I think we've all seen the 4x4 deal. So here's an example. A single product costs $5. The MSRP is $10. So the seller would get a $5 gross profit against that single product. But now we have a different example. We have 3 units, and the total cost is $11, but the price is $26. So there's a gross profit earned against that 3-unit bundle of $15. Now you can play around with the numbers. You can maybe charge more if it's bundled, or charge less. I think what McDonald's has done is they've charged less in this 4 for 4 deal. Why? Because they want to bring in more people. They figure bundling is the right way to go. Bundling happens all the time, and it's something that you might consider for your own business. I mentioned before, some information regarding government contracting. That's a whole different role. It's been decades in government contracting. With government contracting, you have to prove your numbers. So none of these psychological maneuvers work, okay? There's three different types of main types of government contracts. There's cost plus fixed fee, firm fixed price, and time and materials. Cost plus fixed fee means you have to prove the cost for the product or service, and then you add a fee in. And the federal government and the state of California and cities and states will come in and audit your books to prove that the cost and the fee that you're charging is appropriate. Firm fixed price contracts means you're selling the product or the service at a fixed price. That's it. You know, the government needs 1,000 hammers. You're selling 1,000 hammers for $50. At one time it was $250. But you had to prove that that hammer really should be selling for $50. You have to offer it at a competitive price if it's a common good. And then time and materials, where you're charging the government for the amount of hours, maybe somebody's spending on a project researcher. Then you add in price for the materials called T&M, time and materials. And once again, the government will come in and audit your books to be sure that the price that you're charging is reasonable compared to the price that you're paying for the labor and for the materials. So please keep in mind that anyone engaged in government projects, government contract, is subject to audit at any time. Well, that concludes my presentation on pricing. I'm going to ask that we can open it up to any questions. So please feel free to ask. I'm going to go back to the list of strategies. No one has any questions about any of this?
I know, I'm not seeing anything in the chat nor in the Q&A, Mike. Looks like it was pretty comprehensive.
Okay, well, if that's the case, I'll leave this up just for a second. We'll open it up to any questions that you may have regarding any business challenges. We have a number of minutes left, so feel free to ask. And if there aren't any, we'll conclude the session for today. So we'll give it a few minutes, like a minute or so. Okay, Lauren?
Sounds good, Mike. So any questions related to, oh, here we go. Here we go. Oh, can we get the presentation?
Well, tell them how they get the presentation then.
Yes, I will insert my email address right now. You can shoot me an email and we'll get you a copy. We are developing a playlist on our YouTube channel that'll include all these presentations given by Mike and GP so that you guys can go back to them. It is not up quite yet, but for now, you can send me an email, lsimpson@lbcc.edu, and I will get you a copy.
Okay, well, we don't have any other questions, so therefore I'll stop my share. And I'm going to go ahead and wish, oh, Marcella wants to be unmuted.
Sure, I'll take care of that right now. Let's see. Okay.
Hi, can you hear me?
Hello,
Yes. I just have a question. So I have a nonprofit that I started last year, and I went through the, you guys' program to help me do the business plan. And so the purpose of my nonprofit is to give out grants to people that don't have access for compensation for their caregivers. It's usually like immigrant families that are not qualified for public benefits. And so I'm really trying this year to kind of get it off the ground. And so one of the challenges I've been having is figuring out the price, not the price, but the number to the grants. Because when I first started, I had a really big vision, right? So I went from like, oh, I want like the $10,000 grants for people, and it went from like 10,000 to like 25,000 that I wanted to give out. But
Marcella, this is a very detailed question. The best thing for you to do is make an appointment with an SBDC advisor to go over, because it's too detailed to answer in this webinar right now. By the way, there's something called the Center for Nonprofit Management on Alameda Street, next to the train station. There's also the Center for Nonprofit Partnership in Long Beach. Those are both resources for nonprofits. We don't typically deal with nonprofits. We can answer a few questions, but we're not the experts in nonprofits.
Well, I'm actually connected to them. They're the webinars I usually attend. Okay, so I'll go ahead and make an appointment then. But
Yes.
thank you for talking to me.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you, Lily. I appreciate your comment. How do we reach out to develop a typical customer profile? That's a good question. Your advisor, you should make an appointment with an advisor to help you create these ideal clients. There's lots of resources on the internet. They're called buyer personas that you can reach out to. Melissa, you have a question about the EDD. So anyone that forms an entity with the state of California, an LLC, corporation, etc., that elects subchapter S tax treatment is required to take a reasonable salary. And that means you have to register with the EDD. And oftentimes that can be done through a payroll service. So Melissa, if you have elected subchapter S tax treatment by filing form 2553 with the IRS, then you must contact the payroll service and register with the EDD. Or if you have employees, you must register with the EDD. And the best way to do that is through a payroll service. Do we have anything else?
I don't see anything else, Mike. Everyone's saying how great the presentation was and comprehensive. So
All right, terrific. Then I'm going to wish everybody a good day. You too, Lauren.
thank you.
And see you next week.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike. Take care.
All right,
Bye,
bye now.
everyone.